people pronounce things differently. You have the local pronunciations of cities and different areas. And then globally, people pronounce things a certain way. Certain dictionaries have a particular pronunciation of words, and then others, if you're over in the UK, have a different style. So it's kind of the tomato deal, okay? So that's, or the potato. You get the picture. But it's not a sign of, I think the problem I have with pronouncing and vocabulary and really very precise descriptions of words, it's not a sign of somebody's intelligence or brilliance or anything like that. When I was growing up in New Jersey, we had a lot of slang phrases, and some of those folks were, professors in big universities. And it's just the way we talked in the town. And it's kind of interesting. So we thought we would go out there with this question. What words do you pronounce differently than others? And we'd love to hear from you. Phone lines are already lighting up. That's a good sign. It's Friday. Don't get started with your weekend yet. Here's the number, 833-288-3986.
Well, Debbie gave the classic example, tomato. What's a word maybe that you pronounce differently than, say, other people in another part of the country, another part of the world? I was doing a little bit of looking online, and there are a lot of words that are pronounced differently. One that really I've heard it pronounced like picture, if you take a picture of somebody, and in some parts of the country they call it a pitcher, like something you pour water out of. So it's going to be an interesting conversation today. We hope that you'll join us. Debbie gave that number again. It's 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Well, I'll give you a couple examples. And Jerry, you and I are both into movie one-liners and stuff, and I can't remember what movie was when the actor or actress says hi, and they couldn't get the word hi out or something. It was really funny, and it just reminded me of that when I started the show. Sometimes these movies, especially when they're really good movies, you can always remember them. You just have to say the one line or think about the one character like we do with What About Bob? And here comes the movie, the whole movie in your head. Isn't it amazing how words have incredible power? Movies have at the visual screen of seeing things on the big screen. They have power because they stay with you. Very, very important. Okay, so a couple things I want to share. I don't know if our listeners picked up on it yesterday. One person did. Well, maybe there was more, but one person commented when I announced that we had a caller from Missouri, and it's the rest of the country says Missouri, and those that live in the great state say Missouri, and I know that because my mother-in-law was from Missouri, and she would always say back in Missouri, and so you pick up different phrases, but here's and different ways to pronounce it. Here's two words that I hear quite often: pumpkin, right? People still say pumpkin. Have you ever noticed that? Mm-hmm. And how about library? People still say library.
Oh, is that right?
They do. People still say it.
Coffee is another word. Sometimes maybe I think where you're from in New York, New Jersey, don't they say coffee?
Coffee. Everything
That's
is
more of an accent thing, though, isn't it?
AW, right? AW. Yeah. So you talk, coffee. Yeah. That's how we grew up. But it doesn't. But some people when I first came to Arizona, they did kind of equate it to a sign of if your intelligence or what how brilliant you were or you didn't measure up based on how you talked, what region you came from. That was really kind of an unfair, I think, assessment, just because of the way we grew up and the way we pronounce things. But you pretty much came from an area of the country, the Pacific Northwest. I don't really detect an accent.
Well, we don't think that we do. We had a high school
Mm-hmm.
exchange trip with a school from Long Island, and we thought, well, they've got kind of an interesting accent, and they thought we were the ones with the accent. So I guess it's a matter of perspective where you're from. But
right.
Take Two Family, this is a Friday show, and we want you to jump in here. Maybe if you were talking about words that you pronounce differently than some people in, say, some other part of the country or the world, but also, do you have any slang phrases or things like that are said maybe in particular in your area that are sort of unique to where you are, where you were born, where you grew up, where you live now? We can expand it to like unique phrases and catchphrases and things like that. 833-288 EWTN 833-288-3986.
So there's a lot of things in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut area that they sometimes we're getting this from one of our listeners. Sometimes they put a whole phrase into one word. So like if you were to say to somebody, just forget about it. A lot of times from back east, they would say, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Because you roll it all into one word. We just got that from Mike. Thank you so much, Mike. Anything else like that to keep them coming, we'd like to hear. Here go the phone lines again. That's the way to do it. Don't get started with your weekend yet. Tell us how you pronounce things. Okay, we want to know. I think it's fascinating. 833-288-3986. Can I tell you what I find fascinating real quick?
Sure, yeah.
I love British or Australian accents. Mm-hmm. Love them. If I could talk like somebody from the UK or somebody from Australia, I love it. I just love the sound of it. I love how it rolls. I love how they pronounce certain things. Like don't they say instead of schedule, they say schedule or something of that nature?
I've heard schedule, yeah.
I love that. It's so cool. It's so regal sounding. What do you think about that?
No, I agree completely. Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you on the program today, Take Two Family. 833-288-3986. We pronounce words a certain way, and other people maybe the same word a little bit differently. Is there one that kind of jumps out at you? Maybe a slang or a phrase or an idiom that's unique to your part of the country or the world? 833-288-3986 is the number to call. We're going to come right back and get to your phone calls.
Pray for the protection of unborn children with a free pro-life prayer ebook to help guide you in prayer, to change the hearts of those who compromise the call to protect and defend life. Get your free ebook today at EWTN.com/profile.
Catechism in a Year with me, Father Mike Schmitz, is now available right here on Catholic Radio. Encounter God's plan of sheer goodness for us, revealed in Scripture and passed down through the tradition of the Catholic faith as we journey together toward our heavenly home.
Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on EWTN Radio.
This is Jerry Usher. If you missed part of today's show, catch the encore tonight at midnight Eastern or anytime at EWTN Podcast Central. Visit us at EWTN.com/radio/podcasts.
EWTN Radio is seeking a dynamic radio producer to join the EWTN radio team in Irondale, Alabama. The right candidate will be a passionate, multi-skilled, talented professional who can manage and direct all aspects of producing world-class radio broadcasts and play an integral part in Mother Angelica's mission. For all the details about this exciting opportunity, visit EWTN.com and click on Employment at the bottom of the page.
Well, a lot of you have something to say because phone lines are very full right now. Do keep trying, though. 833-288-3986. Talking today about words that are pronounced differently. Like if you're from Nevada, other people might say Nevada. Mm-hmm. What else? Oregon. I lived in Oregon for a long time. A lot of people say Oregon. So, and like Debbie said, there's no right or wrong. Well, there might be a right way, but it's not a reflection on the person who might pronounce it a little bit differently. So let us know if there's a word like that for you, or maybe a phrase or an idiom or something that's unique to your area. We are going to go to Lynn driving through Illinois in just a second. I want to tell you, first of all, though, about a neat and unique gift from the EWTN Religious Catalog. It's the Ash Tag. It's the Ash Tag 3-day devotional candle. It's an examination of conscience. Lent is coming up soon, and the Ash Tag Examination of Conscience is a 3-day devotional candle encased in a sturdy glass holder. It has the image of 3 crosses on the front, which reminds us of Ash Wednesday and the Jewish tradition of penance and fasting. And on the back of the candle is the examination of conscience and the penitential act prayer. And once blessed by a priest, the candle can be used as a sacramental. It's available now at EWTNRC.com. Free standard shipping for online orders of $75 or more in the continental United States. Just use the code FREE when you check out.
So here's a classic one if you live near the Southwest. So we have Arizona State University that's in obviously Arizona, and it's in Tempe, Arizona. Tempe, Arizona. And a lot of sports announcers and stuff, they'll pretend like they're in the area and they'll say Tempe, Arizona. And we're like, yeah, you're not in Arizona. Because we pronounce it Tempe, Arizona. And the same thing with Prescott. A lot of people love to go in northern Arizona, and they say, I've been to Prescott, Arizona. And that is true. It is Prescott, Arizona. But those who live there or frequent it a lot say Prescott. So you see, it's so interesting. You want to get the local terms in place, especially if you're going to pretend like you live in that area or you represent that area. So it's really fascinating. I love topics like this. Are you happy we put this on the calendar?
Oh, and I don't believe I did, but I'm glad that somebody did, because a lot of people are filling up the phone lines here. 833-288-3986. As promised, let's go to Lynn first, driving through Illinois, listening on Catholic Spirit Radio. Hi, Lynn.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Great. How about you?
We're doing good. Just driving through Illinois, headed back to Kansas.
Cool. What do you have for us today?
Well, we're from McPherson, Kansas, and I can't tell you how many times that people have said, "Oh, you're from McPherson." And no, we try to tell people there's no fear in McPherson, but it's pronounced McPherson, Kansas. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's too cool. Too cool. Very nice. Oh, so how is the weather where you are right now? Because we've been monitoring the weather all around the country. Are you getting snow, or what's happening in your part?
Right. The roads are clear. They're dry. We had fog for the first hour coming out of Chicago, but now it's great driving weather. So we're just happy to be on the road and headed home.
Well, great. For those who aren't familiar with where McPherson is, brag on it just for a moment, Lynn. Tell us what part of the state it's in and something unique about it.
Okay. McPherson, Kansas is pretty much in the center of the state. So we're an hour north of Wichita, which is the largest city actually in the state of Kansas. Most people think it's Kansas City, but it's not, because half of Kansas City is in Missouri. So our largest city is Wichita, and we're about 50 minutes north of there. So McPherson's a town of 14,000, and we love the quality of life there. It's our best kept secret. So we've really enjoyed living there.
Well, you just told the whole world about it, Lynn, so it's not a secret anymore.
Real estate sales are going up overnight.
Drive safely, Lynn. God bless you. Thanks for jumping into the conversation today.
Thank you. Safe driving. Safe driving. Jerry, we have a praise report. Did you announce about Danny? May I?
I didn't. Go for it, yeah.
We have a praise report, folks. This is so exciting going into the weekend. See, prayers work. Danny in Cleveland called Matt Kabinski, our call screener, and said his kidney cancer is gone. Praise be to God. Thanks for the prayers. Heading back to work in a few weeks, dealing with fatigue at the moment. Okay, Danny, we're going to be praying that you get a burst of energy there so you can get going and back to work. Danny, way to go. Praise be to God. That is awesome.
It is, yeah. We'll keep praying too, Danny. Be sure to that. We're going to go to South Carolina. Roxanne, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hello, Roxanne.
Hey, Debbie and Jerry. How are you?
Doing well.
Great.
How's your Friday going?
Hey, Roxanne. Mm-hmm.
So I say the word ALMOND as almond because it just has one L. My husband says it's almond. What do you guys say?
I've heard it both ways. Yeah. I have heard it both ways, but I say almond.
Some people actually even omit the L. They would just say almond on almond.
Oh yeah, you've heard that too.
Yeah, I have.
But I've heard both ways.
Now, Roxanne, this between you and your husband, this doesn't rise to the level of fisticuffs or anything, right?
I was just going to say.
Oh no.
Yeah, who gets the almond?
No. Yeah.
He just makes fun of me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I wonder.
Yeah.
Well, I can, if you want something to make fun of, maybe this one will start everybody calling in and they'll it cracks me up. And I'm telling you, I have checked with so many people and nobody seems to confirm this one, Roxanne. So I know somebody that grew up in Missouri and they claim that in Missouri, they, instead of ice cream sundae, they say ice cream sundae. Have you ever heard that one?
I have heard that. Yes, because I'm originally from Illinois, and a lot of people say Illinois, and I have heard the Missouri,
Wow. You're the first person to confirm it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess I'm old enough to know it.
No, you're not. You're beautiful. Well, you know what? That makes me feel better. And actually, I'm probably going to have to go to confession because I kind of would kind of needle him a bit and make fun of it. So I'm going to have to go to confession. Thanks, Roxanne. I need to go to confession anyway.
Have a good day.
God bless you. Thanks for calling in.
Have you ever heard that ice cream sundae?
I haven't heard sundae. No.
Meaning, I have never heard and I love ice cream sundaes.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I mentioned when we were on the high school exchange trip when I was a junior in high school, we went to Long Island and we went to it was a vending place and I said, what kind of pop do you have? And they said, we're out of ice cream. I said, no, what kind of pop do you have? We're out of ice cream. And then one of the local students said, it's soda. It's soda here. It's not pop, it's soda.
It's soda. Yeah.
So,
back east, I say back east because I'm in Arizona, but in New Jersey, New York, we used to say pocketbook for purses. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as a pocketbook in Arizona.
Well, what about you, Take Two family? We're talking about words, phrases, things you might say a little bit differently than some of our brothers and sisters in a different part of the country or the world. 833-288-3986, and you can get on today's broadcast. So please join us.
Okay, we're going to go to Marcia in Alabama. Sirius XM 130 is the way Marcia's listening. Hello and welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. I was just listening to the lady from Missouri, but when I look at that license plate, why don't they say misery? That's wrong, but that's not my thing. Okay. Anyway, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and a lot of Polish people there. And I checked my old yearbook after I moved down here because there were about 5 or 6 Marcias, M-A-R-C-I-A. When I moved down south, whether it was for a job interview, whether it was a doctor or a dentist office, they call me Marcia. I go, what? So in down south, you are Marcia, unless your name is spelled M-A-R-S-H-A.
Oh,
I wasn't aware of.
Oh, Marcia or Marcia. Okay, but you're Marcia, correct?
Yeah, I'm Marcia, but CIA.
Yeah, right. Is that do you find a lot of other Marcias with your spelling, Marcia, or do you find them mostly with the S-H-A?
S-H-A. And people have even sent me things like notes and cards, and they spelled my name M-A-R-S-H-A instead of CIA. Okay. That's just, because they probably not familiar with the CIA part. But that's okay. So I like people down here.
Yeah, Marcia, I have to ask you this question. How did Marcia Brady spell it? I'm just curious.
M-A-R-C-I-A.
She did? Oh,
she
wow.
Did, yeah.
And yes, she did, because when people would meet me and they'd say, and I'd tell them, my name is Marcia, they'd say, oh, Marcia.
Yeah, right.
people
I was just
people
thinking
do
about
do that today, too.
Yeah. Well, before you go, Marcia, real quickly, I just have to say this because we happen to have started with the Missouri thing of how to pronounce places. I just want to say another best kept secret is in Missouri. It's absolutely beautiful. They have a place called The Hill, where it is the best Italian food I believe I've ever had, I think, in my life. I didn't know. I'm sure you're probably familiar with that, Marcia, but it is incredible. It's called The Hill. If you're ever in Missouri, another great secret there, and I love that. Have you heard of it?
Beautiful. No, I have not. And what was the name of the city again?
It's
just outside of St. Louis. It's kind of a suburb of St. Louis, but
St. Louis.
It's kind of like it's a neighborhood. It's called The Hill. It's kind of the Italian. The late Los Angeles Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda, when the Dodgers would play the Cardinals in St. Louis, he had a back room that they always reserved for him. So it must be pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway,
So that's another best kept secret there, a little secret. So thank you, Marcia. God bless you.
Have a great weekend. Yeah. From Marcia to Patricia in Massachusetts, listening on the station of The Cross. Hello, Patricia.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you? Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
I have a theory about language and how we formulate the sound of our words, and it's completely unresearched. So So, but I grew up in Michigan where it's very flat, and so the A's are very long, and they go with the terrain, so you talk according to the geography of your area. And my father and mother grew up in the East. My dad was from Boston, and I live in Boston. And the language here tends to soften the curves, soften the R's and the A's, so that and then I went to college in San Diego and lived out west. And out there, it's very wide open spaces. And also in the Southwest, the sun is really hot. People tend to be a little more affected by the terrain and the weather. Anyway, I think that sound and the way it formulates is an important part of how we pronounce things. And our terrain, our geography, plays a role in that. So where in Michigan, I would say, something with a lot of, long A's, where in Boston, I would say, pa-ka-ka and ha-va-ga, I don't do a good Boston accent, even though I live here. But it's, and then also I think that the Native American community who named everything first, or much of it before we got here, gave us words that were, especially in, when you see like Wingersheek is a beach in Massachusetts, or Worcester, it's not pronounced, it's pronounced Worcester, but it's not spelled that way. And coming from the Midwest, there's a town here called Peabody, but I looked at it and said Peabody, reading. So I do think that, and another interesting thing in terms of language in the Catholic Church, we say salve regina, but the Latin is salve regina,
Yeah. Classical
So
Latin,
I think, the way sound travels, the way we interact with one another formulates the cadence of our language, I think.
That's a fascinating hypothesis. I had never thought of that, Patricia. But, maybe there is something to that. And I noticed right away, you said you live in Boston, but I noticed you didn't have the traditional, typical accent from there, but you've spent time in, like you said, San Diego and other places. So would you consider yourself to have no accent, Patricia, or do you think other people, because you and I and Debbie, we all kind of talk kind of the same way, and we probably don't think we have accents, but other people might. So what is your take on that?
Well, I do believe, when I was in college and I was living in California, my sister got very annoyed with me because I started sounding like a Valley girl. And I think that my mother from upstate New York would say, I have standard American English. And my father, I wouldn't notice his accent until he was reading at church. And I would look up and I would say, who is that man? Oh, that's my dad. He sounds like someone from Boston, So some people notice the accents, some people don't. I do believe that if you use your perspective of the way someone sounds to find superiority or look down on them, it's not good, because I think instead of saying, do I have an accent, we should be asking, can I understand you? And, you know what I mean? I think that's a more important way to look at the way we sound, because if we, Debbie was saying, she found that people in Arizona were, judging according to how you sound.
Yep.
And it's not good. It's not the way we are meant to live. I don't know if I have an accent. I hope I don't. When I go to Michigan, they say you sound like you're from back east, which I think is funny because I can't really hear it.
Yeah.
I think you're brilliant, and I think you're brilliant and very sensitive to this. You have a great insight. I love your approach. I love your personal research, if you will, based on your life experience. I think it's fascinating, and I agree with you. It's interesting that you're saying this. I actually know somebody from California who started to talk like a Valley girl, and she actually has 4 degrees, Patricia, 4 degrees. And so, you're right. It's very interesting. Way to go. Hit a home run with that call. Thank you so much. What do you say, Jerry?
I say there's an open phone line at 833-288-3986 talking about words that you pronounce differently phrases, idioms, things like that. Join us on this Friday of Take Two.
Join Archbishop Jose Gomez in sharing the good news.
We see when we look at Jesus, when we study his words and his example, we see that Jesus lived for the love of God and the love of others. Jesus is calling us to live as he lived, to be meek, to be pure of heart, and poor in spirit. We need to live and work with humility and purity. We need to bring a spirit of mercy and forgiveness and try to be peacemakers in our relationships. We need to care for people in our society. We need to have a heart for the poor and compassion for the vulnerable. Jesus is calling us to live simply, to do everything for the love of God and the love of others.
Visit lacatholics.org to find ways to connect with our faith community in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
Have you ever wished you could listen to EWTN on a local radio station? Maybe our Lord is speaking to your heart to help make that happen. Don't let a lack of experience hold you back. Find out how you can help start a Catholic radio station where you live, powered by the truth of the Church and EWTN's dynamic radio programming. Email Steve at this address, radio@ewtn.com.
This is Father Wade Menezes inviting you to join the Fathers of Mercy for inspiring parish mission and retreat talks Sunday mornings 4 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
This is EWTN, Catholic Radio.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. There's nothing like Women of Grace to explain the truth of our faith, Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Talking about pronouncing words today, and we're having a fascinating discussion. Actually, when we're on break, we're continuing the conversation about this. It's really interesting. I just want to say again, thank you to Patricia. You really got us going deeper and looking at different regions and different countries and stuff. It's fascinating. I love it, love it, love it. I love the Take Two family. Senna is up next in Toronto on the EWTN app. I hope I got your first name correct. Can you help us? Welcome.
Oh, that's correct, Debbie. Yeah. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
I'm calling from Toronto.
Yeah.
Finally, I get first time call you guys. I've been listening to you guys for almost a year and a half now. Debbie probably started to notice my Aussie accent, and that's why I called, because she mentioned it. And by the way, today's Australia Day, January 26th. So perfect timing. I live in Toronto the last 9 years. I'll probably sound like South African a little bit these days, but I just wanted to mention we call a banga sanga, which is a sausage sandwich, what we usually make on a barbecue. And to make it more interesting, there's a kanga banga sanga, which is a kangaroo meat sausage barbecued. So, and if you want to add to it, you can put some dead horse, which is tomato sauce.
So how is that kanger, banger, sanger, son? Is that good? Is kangaroo taste good?
Oh, very good. It's basically mussels, right? So it's lean and just barely cooked. You just flip it once and it's good to go.
Wow,
awesome. So
I never knew that.
Yeah, go ahead, Deb. I don't want to hog.
No, go ahead.
I was just curious. First of all, happy Australia Day, Senna. It's interesting the timing on this. I'll just throw this in as an aside. I'm at the Basilica of St. Paul in Daytona Beach, Florida, as a seminarian in the Diocese of Orlando, serving a pastoral year, and I had the adult faith formation classes. And last night was the Feast of the Conversion of St. Paul, and our parish is St. Paul, and I showed a video. It was an interview with Steve Ray, done by, his name is Charbel, with Perusia Media in Australia. So I heard the accent of Charbel last night, Senna, and yours is just as beautiful.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, well, these days I was born in the Middle East, but grew up in Australia. I lived in Australia for 26 years, so I married to a Canadian, so that's how I moved. Now because I have my other languages behind me, it's probably I don't understand the DT Aussie, but much more settled Aussie accent. But I try a lot because I have to always come down and, I say think all the time, but I've never said think in my life. I was always I reckon. But now I have to change because people don't understand me. You know what I mean? I say, well, I reckon. They say, what? And it's all I think. That's what we... It's very English, like very South English in Aussie, many words. I think, obviously, back in the days where the immigrants went, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, a lot of people get confused because they say, you sound like South African. Well, that's an insult for an Aussie, but yeah, that's okay. I take it.
Well, Senna, I want to thank you so much. Being a first-time caller, you could hear that, you could hear that I was completely silent and never even said a word because I love listening to your voice. I absolutely love it. I have to ask you this question. See, now I start to talk like an Australian. Senna, I have to ask you this. You call, when somebody says something nice, you call them mate? Is that the right word?
Yeah. Well, that's the usual. That's what I was calling the screener, mate, all the time. Yeah, mate is like, it's very common. Like even girls use it. Sheilas, we call them Sheilas, the girls. But yeah, you can girls even use it. Like if they really, really country girls, and then they'll use mate. Mate is it's like a friend, like buddy. Pretty much like a North American buddy would be the. But we make it.
Yeah. So
and the screener.
Right. Well, let me ask you this question. I'm just curious because there's a lot of Australians, believe it or not, where I live. And I have distant cousins in Australia. Question for you. If I were to say to someone, like you just said to Jerry, oh, that's good job, mate. If I were to say that, does that sound peculiar from a female going to a male, or how does that work?
No. At work, all the girls always call me mate. Like they know that's what I say, and it's just we take no offense at all. It's more like closeness than anything else.
Okay, I'm going to try it. You just added another word. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, and no problem, not a problem. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Tom. I'll give a chance to a different caller.
Thanks for listening.
I work with Air Canada. Yeah, I work with Air Canada. I'm just outside now to start my shift at 1 o'clock, so I thought I'll call. Make Debbie's day because she said that she likes the Aussie accent, and she was mentioning schedule, which it is a schedule, to my understanding, but everybody makes fun of me because I say it. But, yeah.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Well, you definitely made my day. Thank you so much.
Yep. Don't wait so long to call a second time. Send
That's
a first-time caller today.
Wasn't that
listening
fun?
to the show for a long time. We appreciate that. All right. So Linda's been holding patiently in southern Indiana, listening today on the EWTN app, which we should all have on our phones. Hello, Linda. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Linda.
Hi there. Hi. I have one. I live over in Floyd County, Indiana, right across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And that is how the natives and everyone around here calls it Louisville, but the technical name is Louisville. So if you say Louisville, you're not from around here.
So you say it one more time, Louisville?
Louisville.
Okay, got it. Oh, I love that. I'm actually going there. Yes, that's cool. And then wait a minute. So you're in southern Indiana. You have Native American towns too, don't you? Where you live?
No.
Well,
I don't know. I can't think of any right away.
I think
I'm actually from Floyd's Knobs, which is right out. Well, I'm about 15 minutes from downtown Louisville or Louisville.
Louisville.
So
very cool.
Right, and then I have another one too that I didn't know until recently. I've always called the state of Nevada, but then recently I heard that the natives there call it Nevada. Now, I don't know how true that is, but
it is. It is actually. Yeah. When my territory for Catholic radio of way back in 2010 was Las Vegas, Nevada, and we would do parish talks, and the locals would tell me, "Please say Nevada. Don't say Nevada, because we don't like it." I said, "Okay, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just fill out a pledge card."
And I didn't even know that till recently. All my life I've called it Nevada. So,
well, isn't it the same with Colorado too? Is it Colorado? Some say Colorado, some say Colorado. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've lived in Reno a couple times working with Catholic radio, and it is Nevada. Yeah, I know that's how the people who live there want it to be pronounced. But you're right, Linda. Some people say Nevada. I mentioned earlier Oregon. Somebody say Washington, my home state of Washington.
Wow.
So it's just, it's interesting how these things sort of develop and get a life of their own.
Yep.
Linda, thank you for participating. Thanks for waiting so long as you did on the phone line there and for being with us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. What about New Orleans, Debbie? That is one that can be pronounced several different ways, I think, can it? Like New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans, Nolans.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's the same with like Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Newark. We say Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. Isn't it? So it's kind of interesting because I think the locals, we tend to kind of sometimes either rush through part of the word because it's so long, or we shorten it and smush it together to make it faster for speech. But I will tell you that people come. I used to remember when a lot of people settle internationally in Arizona. They love the desert weather, the climate, and it's difficult for them because they want to. They always will tell you slow down, because they can't quite pick up the fast words.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is interesting. For me, it was easy because I came from Jersey and we spoke rather quickly. Okay, so where do you want to head next?
Well, I'll just remind folks we have an open phone line, 833-288-3986. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. It is your show on a Friday talking about words that we pronounce differently than other people, or if you have something that's unique to your area, like the name of a city or a phrase or an idiom or something. Mm-hmm. Share that with us, as so many people have, and many others are waiting online here. 833-288-3986. We will go to Sue in Illinois, listening also on Sirius XM 130. Greetings, Sue.
Hi, how are you guys?
Great. So glad that you called.
Thank you. When the pandemic started, one of my good friends started a rosary, online Zoom rosary, and I'm happy to say we're still doing it 5 days a week. But we are doing the long St. Joseph prayer, and it comes to the part where it says, may I offer my praise and HOMAGE. And I think every one of us pronounces it differently. And I like foreign languages, so I think in French it's homage, but it sounds kind of presumptuous. And so I don't know how to pronounce it, whether it's homage or what.
Interesting. Yeah, I actually, where I moved from to the Diocese of Orlando, my parish in Big Bear City, California. Our deacon would say homage.
Right.
And I've always said homage myself.
I've said homage too.
Yeah.
I've said homage too, but I've heard it in multiple ways. You know, Sue, and this is where I go back to the thing about prayers. I think the prayers and those, and even the ancient prayers, are so beautiful, but some of the words, I think it would serve us well if we had it pronounced to us properly, or at least the acceptable pronunciation of things, because I think sometimes again, the same thing happens if somebody were to lead the prayer and they don't pronounce that particular word correctly, then somebody thinks, oh, they don't know how to pray it, and that's just not true. What do you say to that, Sue?
Well, right. I mean, like I said, we all pronounce it differently, but we know what we mean and God knows what we mean, so it's no problem. But I was just curious what the most common usage would be if you were praying here in Illinois.
Yeah, I've always said homage. I've said that.
Yeah, well, as we've been doing the show, I have been peeking in on howtopronounce.com and listening, and they have several different pronunciations, but the first one they say is how it's pronounced is homage.
Homage,
without the H, but the short O. So, but either way, Sue, I think it's important that we pay that homage to St. Joseph, as you were all doing.
So you say homage. You're right.
Yeah.
Homage actually is I would say, Jerry, that first pronunciation that you picked up, that's actually what's used most often that I've heard in prayers. So I don't know if that helps. So homage.
Mm-hmm.
It does help, but I wanted to also tell you that my family's background is from a little town called Berney Dot, Illinois, and some say Bernadotte. But anyway, we use phrases like we fetch things sometimes instead of bringing something. And this is one I've never heard anyplace else. When we want to clean out a closet, we're going to redden the closet. Or if you want to clear the table, you redden the table. Have you ever heard of that one?
No. Did you say redden, like R-E-D?
I don't know how it's spelled. I'm guessing it came from ready, the table.
Oh,
R-E-A-D.
yes. Okay. Very cool. You're going to redden the table. I love that. That's really cool.
Yep.
Okay,
we're getting out a closet. So.
Okay, we're getting some of our teachers weighing in. So a lot of them said it's homage or homage. It's kind of like herb and herb and everything. So I guess with the H, some people drop it, some people do the ah. So there you go, Sue.
Well, I always think if I'm in a place, I pronounce it the way the people pronounce it. If they have their own way of pronouncing a town, even if I don't think it's right, I figure it's their town.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Interesting.
You're so awesome.
You guys, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Sue.
you,
Have a
Sue.
great weekend.
I just looked this up. Read the table. R-E-A-D. Read the table.
So it's like ready.
And
yeah.
it says it's a term used in. Well, it can be used in business. Like to read the table was meant to quickly and discreetly scan all of the people around a conference table when entering a conference room for a meeting, so as to gauge or assess the general demeanor of those in attendance. Similarly, to read the room meant to do the same thing, but in a larger sense. So yes, it can be used. It sounds like it's got several different meanings.
Now Sue's got me thinking. I think I do say homage. I don't know what I say anymore. I can't even remember what I ate for dinner last night. Jerry, can I share with our listeners about Divine Intimacy Radio?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Divine Intimacy Radio is Sundays 6:30 a.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Join Dan and Stephanie Burke as they talk with Lance Mudd about his conversion. And you tune in as Lance shares his story of overcoming alcoholism and turning back to God and trusting in Him. Wow. Divine Intimacy Radio. Love it.
Beautiful. Okay, Kathy's been waiting so patiently in Minneapolis, Minnesota, listening on the EWTN app today. Kathy, we're glad that you called and waited to get on. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
Mm-hmm. Doing well. I pray that you're having a good day.
I am having a good day.
Good.
We grew up in Iowa, and said caramel, like caramel apple.
Mm-hmm.
My sister moved to Tallahassee. Lived there about 20 years, and she called me one day and she was laughing. She was talking to somebody about caramel apples or something, and they said, "Y'all are missing a vowel. It's caramel."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like,
Missing a vowel and a syllable. Yeah.
Right. A syllable, right? So anyway, caramel or caramel.
Caramel. Well, and especially when you have Our Lady of Mount Carmel. When I grew up in New Jersey, it was Our Lady of Mount Carmel because my aunt, who's a Dominican sister, her name is Sister Carmel Lavolsi. And so we always said Carmel. And when I came out to Arizona, same thing happened to me, Kathy. And I actually like caramels or caramels. I love them. I think they're delicious candies. And I came out to Arizona, and there's a big festival they have with these caramels, and they made so much fun of me, Kathy, because I said caramel. And then I just said, just give me the candy. I don't, whatever that stuff is.
I know, I love it. So anyway, okay. Well, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I buy that caramel dip, for apples.
Oh, yeah.
Because finding caramel apples is not. It used to be easier when I was a kid, I think.
They can break your teeth, You better be careful.
Well, they're in specialty sweet shops and stuff like that. But I just buy the caramel and just slice the apple up and dip it in there and do it my own way.
Oh, that's so good. You know what else is really good too? You can actually. Have you ever had bananas dipped in caramel?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, you have? Okay. And orange?
Yeah,
have you
and
had orange?
I haven't had orange dipped in caramel, no. But
you can dip anything in caramel. It's so good.
I love those frozen chocolate bananas that they have. Chocolate dipped bananas.
It's so good. Do you see how we digress into food all the time?
This is what we do off the air. We just, when we get done with the show, we're go on for hours talking about what you all shared with us on the show. Ron, Northeast Wyoming, listening on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Ron.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm loving your show.
Oh,
thanks, Ron. Well, we love you.
Thank you. So I am originally from Chicago, and I've lived out west for quite a while. I've not been back for a while, but anyway, there's a Chicago particular way of talking about a room in a house, and so a typical house in within the city of Chicago, at least at one time, there were bungalows, and there were, the small brick single residences.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the bungalow-style house, there was always a living room in front and facing the street, and people always put back in the day, they put their best furniture and the best items up in that living room area. But in Chicago, they don't call it a living room. It's actually the front room, but the way they pronounce it is F-R-U-N, the front room.
Front room.
So,
wow.
Interesting.
Isn't
kind
that
of a strange thing that kind of cracks me up when you...
Yeah. What's a parlor then? I mean, isn't that a room in the front or something like that too? Isn't that the same thing?
The parlor, like a Victorian style house, would be kind of off to the side of the living room.
Okay.
And it would be a place where people would actually wait for the host to come in. So you'd be received into a parlor, and then eventually you'd make it into the living room or the fun room, like they call it in Chicago.
Yeah.
So you live in Northeast Wyoming. I'll bet that's a beautiful area, Ron.
It is beautiful. It's a wide open country and a lot of natural beauty here. There are mountains, but they're more hills. The Black Hills are not far away.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. Yeah, because that's another thing. Hills, a lot of people call their hills mountains in certain states. And, of course, states with mountains say that's not a mountain, that's a hill.
Yeah.
A little speed bump or something. God bless you, Ron. Thank you for being part of this fun show on this Friday. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we're going to go. We have to go really fast now, guys. Elizabeth in Minnesota on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi. I was just going to let you know, I don't know if we're the only people in my family who call it mayonnaise. I guess it's usually mayonnaise, but I've tried to pronounce it that way, and I can't. So.
Wait, how do you say it, Elizabeth?
I just, 2 syllables, mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. Yeah, that's how I say it, too.
Yeah.
That's how I say it, I think.
I think maybe it's because if you say it fast, even mayonnaise would be mayonnaise if you say it fast. I don't know, but I've heard mayonnaise as well.
Why don't you just say mayo?
Mayo, yeah, right.
That solves that one. Right, Elizabeth?
Yeah, that would solve it.
Yeah.
I never call it that, though.
Our call screener, Matt, put up on the screen, he said you were going to talk about a condiment, but he didn't say which one. And there's another condiment that I thought you were going to probably talk about, and that is ketchup or catsup.
Oh, who's
ketchup?
Elizabeth, have you ever heard it called catsup before? C-A-T-S-U-P?
No.
You never have?
No, I've never heard it. Where did you get that from? Have you ever heard that, Elizabeth? I've always heard
Yes,
ketchup.
I have heard of catsup, but I've never called it that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have?
Except maybe as a joke.
Yeah.
It was a joke on you, Jerry.
Well, online it says ketchup or catsup is a table condiment with a sweet and sour flavor, and it goes on from there.
Well,
so,
then you were right.
I haven't seen catsup in the store in decades, but remember when I was a kid, and you know me, Debbie, I'm the king of condiments, so I would not lie about something like this.
That's true. Elizabeth, when we used to do pledge drives and we would actually go in person, Jerry would have those little ramekins, those little cups of every single condiment you could imagine, hot sauces, this sauce, this. I don't know how his stomach handled it, Elizabeth.
Well, I've got to tell you, this is a true story. The parish where I'm living this year, my pastor has gotten to know me as a lover of condiments. I saw him in the hallway this morning. He says, by the way, I went to the store. You've got more ketchup in the refrigerator.
Oh,
just this morning he said that.
That is so nice. That is so nice.
So Elizabeth, I have the nickname, the king of condiments. What do you think about that?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. No, food's meant to have stuff slopped all over it, I think. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thanks,
have a great
Elizabeth.
weekend.
Yeah, God bless you. Okay, Antoinette is calling in from, help me out, Jerry. Oh, Louisiana. Okay, Christ Our King Radio. Hi, Antoinette.
Hello, Jerry and Debbie.
Hi there.
It's so wonderful to talk to y'all.
Likewise.
I was going to say, some people say Louisiana. We say Louisiana because she doesn't like to miss her Louise in it.
Okay, so wait a second, Antoinette. So you from Louisiana, you say Louisiana, correct?
We say Louisiana.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Well, I'm getting an education today. How far are you? It says here, is it Rain, Louisiana? Is that how you say your city, Antoinette?
Right.
Okay.
Rayne.
Yeah, are you near New Orleans, or how would you say New Orleans? Because I mentioned earlier, how would you say?
My dad was from New Orleans, and he'd say, we're going to New Orleans.
New Orleans, okay.
Say, what? So they have that. How's it? You coming to New Orleans today? No.
Are y'all coming to New Orleans today, right?
Yeah, y'all coming to New Orleans. So, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please say what you were going to say.
I wanted to tell you this story because I tried to call the other day when y'all were talking about experiences with the church, and mine was with the Holy Spirit being confirmed. Mm-hmm. And my sister and I got confirmed together because she's October 10th and I'm October 7th.
Wow.
She's 55 and I'm 56.
Nice.
The years.
Yeah. Oh, the years 55 and 56. Okay. You could have passed for just being in your 50s, though, Antoinette. I'm serious. You sound like it. And I love your spirit. You are a sweetheart, What a great contribution you made to the program. Thank you, Antoinette. Let's go real quickly. Christiani, near Boston. You got about 15 seconds. Can you do it? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Real quick.
Hello?
You hear that music? Yeah.
Yes. I'm just, first of all, God bless you all. And I'm original from Brazil.
Okay, got to go quick. Got about 15 seconds.
Okay, my daughter's name is Hanna, and then here they pronounce Hannah, and it's Hannah. And I'm always thinking about the letter Patricia. Why the office is not office?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Maybe another show we can do that. Hannah or Hannah? That's interesting. Christiani, I wish we had more time to give you there on that. Thank you so much. Thank you, show team, affiliates. Thank you, Take Two family. Great way to head into the weekend. And we ask Saints Timothy and Titus, please pray for us. Amen.
January is the month dedicated to the most holy name of Jesus.